How about we cool you down with some classic audio for a bit?
Okay, let's listen to some audio.
We've previously played some of the trials and tribulations of the Tonga Kid and Roddy Piper and Jimmy Snuka. Here, let's start with this, picking up kind of where we left off from December 8th, 1984. Here's Jimmy Snuka and the Tonga Kid on Blackjack Mulligan's talk show.
Together.
Well, welcome once again to Mulligan's Barbecue, Blackjack's Barbecue, and the big question that we all want to know is what has happened to Roddy Piper. I understand by rumors that Roddy Piper has been seen heading south out of Birmingham, Alabama on a Greyhound bus. So I got to say this right now, ladies and gentlemen, I got two of the greatest phenomenal athletes of all time, Jimmy Snuka and the Tonga Kid, and something that people, 90% of my male Tonga Kid and Snuka are about you two phenomenal athletes. And what we really want to know is what in the world do you do on those islands over there? What do you attribute your great success? I've never seen such great bodies and phenomenal agility on athletes. Tonga, how do you do this?
Let me stop it real quick. 42 seconds, nothing but Blackjack Mulligan talking, but 90% of his mail to Blackjack Mulligan apparently is about Jimmy Snuka and the Tonga Kid. Any thoughts instantly about one of the great talkers, Blackjack Mulligan, actually having one of these WWE talk shows?
Well, and I'd forgotten about that because unfortunately it's kind of like Blackjack didn't stay long in too many places, and he'd get mad about something and leave. And I'd forgotten that he hosted in 84 and I guess early 85, that talk segment that was, at that time, Mulligan was a babyface in the WWF. Was he even wrestling at that? Was he still wrestling then?
Yeah, because Vince got him and Barry and Rotunda, like right around the same time. They just leave Dusty after they all left Florida for Dusty and come to the WWF.
And I guess, and he would end up probably working for till 86, 87, Blackjack, and then that was probably pretty much it.
I think he may have left and come back because he was there in 87. I just don't remember if he was there steadily from 84 to 87. He
was never anywhere that long steadily. But point being, yes, Mulligan was one of the great promos, and especially as a babyface in the Carolinas. When he and Lanza were heels, they were, excellent and had that great look and everything. But Mulligan really, came into his own as a major single babyface when he, had that run in the Carolinas. And that's why he gave notice to Vince Sr. when he was still one half the tag team champions, because even the tag team champions in the WWF in the mid-70s weren't going to make as much money as he could make working for Crockett in North Carolina as a single top babyface attraction in that territory. And he did. He did great. But of course, that's why, Mulligan came back a time or two for Vince Jr., but Lanza was a member of the office and an agent and a trusted, a jack of all trades until he retired back, 15 years ago or whatever it was.
Well, let's go back to this. Jimmy Snuka and the Tonga Kid talking to Blackjack Mulligan.
Well, you know something, brother? Thank you very much for being on this bit. Me and my cousin of mine, we have a good time back home in the islands. He taught me a lot of moves and a lot of, brother, there's so many things you can't even understand. We go fishing, we go hunting, and that's all we do. Well, Tonga, let me ask you this one thing. There's a lot of pretty ladies on those islands over there. Is that true? Hey, brother, you wouldn't believe the woman's back home in the island, brother. Well, none other than Tonga Kid.
What an interview this is.
The woman's. You wouldn't believe the woman's back home.
By the way, I like the way you put that question. I understand there's a lot of good-looking women over there. Isn't that true? Or is that true? But let's go back to this.
Well, and we haven't heard from Snuka yet, because I think Jimmy is probably over there formulating how he's going to save this segment.
And none other than Jimmy Superfly Snuka, the man himself, the next world's champion in my books. Jimmy, we've been together a lot of times. When are you going to take me to Fiji with you?
Well, brother, let me tell you this. Ladies and gentlemen, it sure is nice to be back. And it's nice to be on this special trip.
All right. Jimmy, can you teach me to play them war drums there in Fiji, brother?
Well, let me tell you, my friend, when there's drums, there's a lot of good feeling. And when there's feeling, there's a lot of good thought in mind. But believe me, Jack, if you want to hit back for the islands, brother, let's take care of what we came here to take care of, especially like people like you, Piper.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to wrap it up, Jimmy. That's it for this week on Blackjack Shit. The Snuka and the Tonga Kid. See you next week, ladies and gentlemen. All right. All right.
I will.
Oh my God! He did a 45-second intro. He blathered with Tonga Kid about the women's in the islands. He went to Jimmy, who he knew was not going to say anything fucking coherent. And after 30 seconds, well, that's all the time we got.
Was Blackjack trying too hard?
Yes. We said he was one of the greatest promos, and especially as a baby face. And he created. That's where everybody said. Bray Wyatt, the genes, it was passed down naturally, that he could talk. But Blackjack created characters at Eagle Pass, Texas, and all the people that he interacted with, just like Dusty did. In his backstory, son of a plumber, T.C. Lee, I was digging ditches with it, whatever. But that's different, trying to get yourself over and talk about yourself and your background and what you're mad about or what your goals are in wrestling and promos, and interviewing other people and trying to draw it out of them. And you had to know, because Mulligan had known Snuka since the Carolinas. And even if he just met Tonga Kid, that day, he had to know that he wasn't going to get a lot of goddamn coherent English out of, either one of them at that point in time. And so I think he was trying to fill it up, but then he couldn't get him to say, hey, I'll invite you to Fiji with me, or yeah, those women are great looking. So yeah, he was trying very hard there.